That we adjourn the previous session, seconded by Leader Algier. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Previous legislative day is adjourned. At this time, I would ask that the clerk unlock the machine for the purpose of recording attendance. Have all senators indicated their attendance? Will the clerk please lock the machine? 32 members, there is a quorum. At this time, I would ask for all members and their guests to please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance to be led today by Senator Hannah M. Gallo, representing the City of Cranston and the town of West Warwick.
Dear Lord, as senators, we have a great responsibility to our constituents. Help us to emulate your example of patience, respect, and kindness to all as we strive to solve the problems and improve the lives of those we serve. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next order of business is the introduction of guests. Are there any guests present? Next order of business is committee reports and communications. There are several communications from Senator Elizabeth Crowley. Let the record reflect that due to a family emergency, I will be absent from the chamber on Tuesday, January 19th. From Senator James Sheehan, please be advised I will be unable to attend the Senate session due to illness. From Senator Juan Pichardo, please be advised that I will be absent on Tuesday, January 19th. And to the Honorable Senate, pursuant to Section 5.2 of the Senate Rules for the 2015-16 legislative session, I am making the following appointments to the Senate standing committees. Senator John A. Pagliarini, Jr. is assigned to the Committee on Finance. Senator Nicholas D. Kettle is assigned to the Senate Committee on Health and Human Services. Senator Nicholas Kettle assigned to the Senate Committee on Rules. Senator Nicholas Kettle will vice Senator Elaine Morgan on the Senate Committee on Education. Senator John A. Pagliarini, Jr. will vice Senator Nicholas Kettle on the Senate Committee on Housing and Municipal Government. I hereby appoint as Secretary to the Senate Committee on Housing and Municipal Government Senator Donna M. Nesselbush. Please record in the Senate Journal. We have also received the following appointments from the Governor. Her Excellency the Governor transmits the following appointments and requests advice and consent of the Senate. The appointment of Jean Marie Rocha, MPHRN, to the Health Professional Loan Repayment Board, Senate Committee on Health. The reappointments of Mario Bueno, Paul McDonald, John Gregory, Martin Truabe, Cheryl Merchant to the Governor's Workforce Board, that would be Labor. The reappointment of Nathaniel J. Rendine, Esquire, to the Labor and Training Board of Review, that also would be Labor. Are there any further communications, Mr. Clerk? There being none, we have one item under new business for immediate consideration. Senator Gallo, do you wish to delay that at this time, or are you prepared to go forward? There is no further new business, and there is not a consent calendar. At this time, we would revert to announcements and introductions. Senator Lynch-Prada.
Thank you, Madam President. For planning purposes, the Committee on Special Legislation and Veterans Affairs will meet tomorrow at the Rise in room 310.
Thank you. Senator Nesselbush.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, there will be a meeting of the Senate Health and Human Services Committee at the Rise regarding the Overdose Commission and the behavioral health initiatives for this year. All are welcome.
Is there any other announcements? Senator Metz. Senator Metz, you asked that we return to new business, it's my understanding. Senator Metz requests immediate consideration of a Senate resolution commemorating the celebration of the birth of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Senator Metz requests that it be read. Yes. Will the clerk please read?
Senate Resolution commemorating the celebration of the birth of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Whereas, in the altruistic words of the esteemed Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? He devoted his life to the advancement of civil rights and service to one's community, and he helped to move us closer to the ideals on which America was founded, a nation of freedom and justice for all. And whereas born on January 15, 1929, Dr. King grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, attending segregated public schools. After earning his high school diploma, he started college at the age of 15 and went on to obtain his doctorate in 1955. And whereas during his lifetime, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. changed the course of history, he led a nonviolent revolution that would forever change the social and political landscape of America. And whereas the mirror that the Reverend Martin Luther King, Jr. held before the national conscience revealed the ugliness of racism and hatred that had divided America throughout its history, and neither the carnage of civil war nor the self-examination that Dr. King forced upon the nation has fully eradicated the injustices which are still prevalent to this day. And whereas there is no doubt that Dr. King challenged us to make real the promise of America, when others called for blood and violence, he eloquently preached nonviolence. For him, violence was a firestorm which must eventually consume the arsonist. And although he was a victim of violence throughout his public career, he never gave in to the darkness cloaking this great evil. He believed that violence did not change hearts, that racial equality and social justice were more likely to come about through appeals to the public's collective conscience and by the examples being set by those advocating social justice and nonviolence. And whereas the Reverend Dr. King also changed the course of history and inspired all citizens to help build what he called the beloved community and to live up to the purpose and potential of America. His famed I Have a Dream speech before the Lincoln Memorial, his ironclad will, and the true justness of his cause forever changed and advanced freedom, equality, opportunity, and brotherhood for all. And whereas this year marks the 30th anniversary of the nationwide observance of the Martin Luther King Jr. federal holiday, honoring one of the most influential and iconic leaders of the civil rights movement, it is a time for the people of our state to recognize Dr. King's teachings by embracing and promoting his tireless, undeniable efforts towards equality and by finding ways to give back to our communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this Senate of the State of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations hereby commemorates the birthday of the great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. We honor not only the man and his accomplishments, but also the continuing process of social enlightenment he founded, which lives with us still, ever pressing us to move beyond what we are and what we think we can be. A prophet of hope, Dr. King left a legacy which will live forever. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be and she is hereby authorized and directed to transmit duly certified copies of this resolution to all general office holders, members of the Rhode Island Congressional Delegation, and the Martin Luther King Jr. State Holiday Commission.
Resolutions done at this time. Senator Metz.
Yes, thank you, Madam President and ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. I hope everyone enjoyed the Martin Luther King holiday yesterday, and I appreciate the resolution prepared and read so wonderfully by our staff today. It was an honor for me to attend Dr. and Mrs. Raptakis' third grade class at the Ty Oak Elementary School with Senator Raptakis last Friday. The children were wonderful. The teachers did a great job in letting them know about the legacy of Dr. King. And it was an honor for me to attend the annual Ministers Alliance MLK Scholarship Breakfast Monday morning and to represent you and the Senate later on that evening at the annual celebration sponsored by the Martin Luther King Jr. State Holiday Commission at the Ebenezer Baptist Church. Both Senator Pachado and I represent the Senate on the commission. And I want special thanks to Senator G and all those for braving that came from the Senate that braved the bad weather and the roads and the cold to attend yesterday's event. The House was well represented, and I thank all senators to attend. And Senator G, thank you so much. It was so good to see you. Years ago, I read a quote from someone about race who basically said, "What race? It's all the human race." And as we reflect on the legacy of the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., let's reflect on how he made America look in the mirror and challenged all to live up to his creed that all men are created equal. Let us reflect on how he challenged the evil system of segregation and how he used the spirit and power of God's love to get people of all backgrounds to work together to correct economic, social, and political oppression. If it's one thing I'll never forget about the civil rights struggle, it was the spirit and love of God that had black and white, Jew and Gentile, Protestant, Catholics, and Muslims working together and marching together to end the evils of segregation and for equality. Sadly, today, economic oppression continues, and we are witnessing fears being exploited and divisions and negativity promoted at the highest levels, even during nationally televised events. This is shameful. Personally, I'm looking for leaders that can pull the nation together, not tear it apart, and get people working together. This year, I paid more attention to Dr. King's dream about the creation of a beloved community. The struggle was not about people, he said, and I quote, "The struggle is rather between justice and injustice, between the forces of light and darkness, the light and darkness, and equality. When we have true equality," he felt that it would be a victory for democracy. I'm also proud of the progress made here in Rhode Island with the Comprehensive Police Community Relations Act passed last year. It was crafted by the community and law enforcement working together, and this process started well before the event in Ferguson, Missouri, Baltimore, and other areas of the country. And Rhode Island should be proud. Rhode Island should be proud because we were working on things before there was a big upheaval. Yet more work remains to be done. Dr. King said the end of violence or the aftermath of violence is bitterness. The aftermath of nonviolence is reconciliation and the creation of a beloved community. We must remain vigilant to this end because he was also concerned about the appalling silence of good people. And he also said he was also concerned about, and I quote, stagnant passivity and deadening complacency. One of Dr. King's favorite scripture was Amos 5:24, and I'll read it to you from the New Living Translation Bible. It says, "Instead, I want to see a mighty flood of justice, an endless river of righteous living." So in closing, and as we reflect on the legacy of the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., and as we think about the struggle against economic oppression, nonviolent action to correct injustice, reconciliation and healing, remember that it is only through love that we can create the beloved community that Dr. King dreamed about. Thank you, Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. I moved the resolution at the proper time. If we can leave it on the desk for further signatures.
Senator Metz moves the resolution, seconded by Leader Algier, Leader Ruggiero, Senator Goodwin, Senator DuPont, Senator Gallo, Senator Lynch-Prata, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Pearson, Senator Picard, Senator Nussbush, Senator Miller, Senator Fogarty, Senator Walaska, Senator Phelan, Senator McCaffrey. Senator Algier, I had recognized you previously. Senator Kettle, Senator Gee, Senator O'Neill, Senator Raptakis, Senator Conley, Senator Lombardo, Senator Pagliarini, Senator Morgan, Senator Lombardi, Senator Coyne, Senator Archibald, Senator De Palma, Senator Chacon, Senator Satchel, Senator Golden, Senator Cody. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The resolution passes. At this point, I will ask for announcements, but the reason we have delayed today a little bit in our start, and I'm going to respectfully request that you remain at ease on the floor, is that there are a number of policemen that we're expecting in the chamber, and unfortunately they went to the House first. So it's a jurisdictional task force that we want to recognize. So the resolution's here on the desk, but I'd ask that you on for Martin Luther King Day. Senator Gallo, perhaps you could put your resolution on the desk as well. I think that there's also East Greenwich police officers that are part of that task force. Make sure our colleagues have signed it. And the Senate will stand at ease until the arrival of a number of police and investigative officers from the House.